Good morning, everyone. It's Lee Henson, your president and founder of AgileDad, and it's time for today's edition of Daily Stand-Up. Without any further ado, let's get started. Today, I wanted to talk to you about the top 5 challenges that a Scrum Master would face and really be an effective, good Scrum Master that does their job well and that, gets things delivered and has high-performing teams. What are the top 5 challenges? It's Hump Day, so it's time for our Hump Day challenge. So just heads up, Kim is going to be asking you on LinkedIn and on Facebook, what are some of the challenges that you see, that you can identify, that you've had to face as a Scrum Master? So we'd love to hear your challenges. We want to hear you chime in. We want to hear about your challenges. We want to hear about the things that you've overcome. We want to hear about those things so that we can share those with the world and recognize Scrum Master excellence. So tell us about the challenges that you face, and either A, we'll help you through those challenges, or B, it'll give us an opportunity to celebrate your big win. Yes? So what are those top 5 challenges? So I put together a list of my top 5, and I think that these might resonate well with you. So I'm here to share. Coming in at number 1, managing role expectations. Now, a lot of people come to me from an executive leadership level, and they always ask me, what exactly does a Scrum Master do for 8 hours a day? Why is it a full-time job? Can't they be a Scrum Master and something else? Are they that's just the person that facilitates the little daily meeting, right? I mean, there's nothing else that they do. Why on earth do we need them to be full-time? And what's amazing to me is just that they don't understand all that it takes to be a good Scrum Master. I hear a lot of times, oh, well, they're just a project manager, right? It drives me crazy. So I think that in order for us to really have a good, powerful Scrum Master, we have to overcome that adversity of what people think of the Scrum Master role and what people think of what they do and what they don't do, which leads to a clear understanding and delineation of what the role does with a list of responsibilities, and an understanding of coordination meeting between the people who are doing it, so that we can cover all the intangibles, the things that Scrum Masters often do that aren't part of the reporting list. You can't run a report to talk about the quality of life improvement that you provided for the team, or a team productivity statistic report. I mean, there's so many things. And for those of you who aren't keeping track, that was a TPS report. No, but there's just certain things that a Scrum Master does that are intangible. In fact, about 70%, that's 70%, of what a Scrum Master does, there's really no way to report on it or figure it out. So I think when you're looking at managing the expectations of what a Scrum Master does in their role, it requires you to really have a good understanding that it's more than just what the book Scrum for Dummies says, or it's more than just what we feel like we should be doing. There's a lot more to it. And I think that, you need to come up with a good definition of a Scrum Master so that executive leadership and others can agree that, hey, this does make sense and it's what a Scrum Master should be doing. Coming at number 2, the ever threatening change resistance, right? Everybody that I know often refers to change resistance being, we really want to do this, but we want to take what we're currently doing and switch it. So instead of changing what we're currently doing and expecting different results, we want to do the same thing we've been doing, but in an agile way so that we can have change. Change resistance is the social aspect that creates this resistance in all forms between individuals, teams, departments. It's where you're not responding to what people should be doing. I think that's how Mike Cohn summed it up. But it's one of these things where you need to be aware of what's being asked, and you need to understand why it's being asked of you. But you need to figure out a way that it's comfortable, but not so comfortable that it doesn't work, if that makes sense. So you need to overcome that change resistance. You need to overcome people pushing you in the opposite direction, saying this isn't going to work. The truth is, Scrum and Agile really don't work a lot of times when they're first initially applied within organizations. Sometimes it takes the help of an outside coach, some training and things to really get the wheels on the bus spinning so that you can be moving in the right direction and all be moving together in one direction. I think that's the most important thing. Number 3, keeping everything time boxed. Scrum Masters struggle with this. It's important for them to do it, but they really do struggle with, I have all these things that I want to tell you about, or we have all these things that we want to show, or, and everybody doesn't understand the concept of why a time box is important. Meetings tend to go long. People hate being in meetings and they complain about being in meetings. We often hear the daily stand-up should not exceed 15 minutes. I always say 30 seconds per person, not to exceed 15 minutes, but yet people start discussing difficulties they're having or challenges, and the meeting goes long and people get frustrated and the scrum master's not doing their job. And it's just one of these things where you have to make sure even research should be time boxed. You need to make sure that every single thing that the team's working on, that they have some time box around it so that they can be successful. And scrum masters need to be authoritative when it comes to establishing time boxes and maintaining those time boxes. Um, Another challenge scrum masters face is the sky is falling, handling all those urgent requests. The sky is falling, the sky is falling. If we don't get this fixed right away, we're going to lose our biggest customer. The truth is, in a practical world, you're not going to lose your biggest customer. But the challenge is that the scrum master is often one responsible for trying to help you figure out what can be tolerated as far as change is concerned, and when those changes are urgent enough to cause an interruption, or whether those changes are just urgent enough to alert a product owner that, hey, we need to insert something in our next sprint. I think that oftentimes, but when we don't see the difference between a true product owner and we don't have a good product owner identified, and we don't understand who our target customer is, and we have so many stakeholders who are just coming in with frequent requests, it causes us to have this confusion. And I think that if we're quick to jump to every single request that comes in, we're going to be quick to fail because we can't do everything. It's not good to just blindly follow whatever anybody's asking you to do without understanding all the business and market aspect behind, hey, this is why we're doing it, and this is our target customer and how it's going to make a difference to them. We need to do better at communicating. We need to do better at collaborating. We need to do better at holding the right meetings, with fewer individuals for a shorter amount of time, with a tangible goal and a clear agenda to make sure that we're getting those right levels of communication across. Finally, coming at number 5, the challenge scrum masters face with distributed teams, especially in a remote environment. Oh my goodness. Here we are. We're in COVID world, right? We have a developer here, a developer there, a tester here. We got people all over the place, and now we have to deal with them. What tools or tricks of the trade are you using? Are you using tools like Mural or Miro to coordinate and to see work in flow, in motion, so that you can get an idea of what things are happening and how they're happening? Are you using tools like Jira or Microsoft Azure or version 1 or Rally or any of those tools to help you track success or failure of what's going on within your products or projects? How are you managing dependencies and difficulties and impediments across various time zones and working hours? How are you coordinating daily meetings and holding face-to-face discussions? I think that it's not impossible to do. In fact, I would argue it's very possible to do. But I think that it's important for you to understand both culture and humanized approaches to being pragmatic about how you handle these things. You need to use a psychology-driven approach. You can't come in and just demand that people are all on a meeting at a certain time, or that we have to do things a certain way. While that might work with some organizations, what I found is as we embrace diversity and culture and inclusion and difference, and as we embrace the way people work, and as we identify the ways that we're going to measure success, some of the best ways that we can measure success is by figuring out exactly what tools we can provide to help people organize and govern best use of their time. And we need to trust that people are going to do the right thing and that they're going to use their time the right way. And I think that when we get to the point where people are using their time the right way and people aren't frustrated anymore about this pandemic, you're going to start seeing some tangible results that make sense. I hope this was enjoyable to you. Tried to keep it short and sweet today. As always, we encourage you to tune in to AgileDad.com where you can learn more, but more importantly, chime in on that LinkedIn post. Kim's looking for your answers about the things that you struggle with so that the team at AgileDad can help you overcome some of those things, and so that we can learn more about what type of struggles are happening in the world today, because we know that you know the things that are the most important because you're our target audience. So thanks again for being here. Thanks for being awesome. And as always, we encourage you to stay healthy, stay well, and stay agile, my friends. Until next time, do take care.